Admiral Gray stood at his observation post, watching the Imperial scout ships return from their latest expansion mission. His dark eyes narrowed as he studied the data streaming across the massive screens. After 50 years of service to the Galactic Empire, he had seen countless species discovered and conquered. But something about this latest report made his scales tingle with unease. "Show me the findings again," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of experience. The young officer quickly brought up the holographic display of a blue-green planet. "Sir, we've discovered a pre-FTL civilization in Sector 7, the officer reported. They call their planet Earth. Initial scans show they've barely reached their own moon." Gray moved closer to the display, his clawed hand passing through the hologram of Earth's orbital debris field. "Interesting. They've made quite a mess up there, haven't they?" "Yes, sir. They seem to have no regard for orbital cleanliness. Their space is cluttered with thousands of satellites and debris. Quite primitive." But Gray wasn't listening anymore. His attention had fixed on something else, a pattern in the debris that triggered memories from his tactical training. "Enhance Quadrant 4, he commanded. A hologram zoomed in, revealing what appeared to be broken satellites. But to Gray's trained eye, they were too regularly spaced, too purposeful. "Run a deep scan on these objects," he ordered. The results confirmed his suspicion. They were disguised weapon platforms. "Sir," another officer called out, "we've intercepted their information network. They call it the Internet. Would you like to see their military history?" Gray nodded, and what he saw made his blood run cold. These humans had never achieved global peace. Instead of unifying like most species, they had spent their entire history fighting each other. Every major advancement in their technology came from warfare. They had weapons that could destroy their entire planet, yet they kept them ready, living on the edge of annihilation for decades. "Look at this," Gray murmured, pulling up an image of human soldiers. "They don't use combat stimulants or enhancement drugs. These are their natural capabilities." The briefing room fell silent as they watched footage of human military training. Soldiers running for hours carrying heavy loads, swimming through freezing waters, surviving in hostile environments with minimal equipment. "Sir," his second-in-command spoke up, "surely this isn't a concern. They're centuries behind our technology. Standard conquest protocols should be sufficient." Gray turned to face his officers, his expression grave. "Tell me, when was the last time you saw a species that made war into an art? Look at their terms. Guerrilla warfare, asymmetric combat, psychological operations. They have thousands of words just to describe different ways of fighting." He pulled up more images, human weapons through the ages, each deadlier than the last. They went from throwing spears to splitting atoms in less than 10,000 years. "That's not normal. That's not safe." "The High Command won't care," his second-in-command said. "They'll see a primitive species and order standard procedures." Gray sighed, knowing he was right. The Empire had conquered thousands of worlds, and its procedures were set in stone. But as he studied the humans' history of warfare, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to wake something dangerous. "Send the report to High Command," he finally ordered. "But add my personal note of caution. These humans, they're different. They don't fight like we do. They don't think like we do." As the officers left to prepare the report, Gray remained alone with the hologram of Earth. He watched the tiny blue planet spin, thinking about all the wars its surface had seen. The Empire would ignore his warning. They always did. They would try to conquer Earth like any other world. "May the Void have mercy on us," he whispered to himself, "because I don't think the humans will." The message was sent that day, marked urgent but ultimately filed away with countless other conquest reports. The Empire's mighty war machine turned its attention to Earth, confident in its superior technology and vast numbers. They had no way of knowing they were about to learn why humans were the galaxy's greatest nightmare, the hard way. The Imperial diplomatic vessel Glory of Dawn dropped out of hyperspace just beyond Earth's moon. Captain Reed of the United Earth Defense Force watched it appear on his command screen, its sleek purple metal hull gleaming in the sunlight. The alien ship was huge, at least 3 times the size of Earth's largest vessel. "All stations report," Reed ordered, keeping his voice calm despite the tension in the air. "Weapons are cold but ready, sir," his tactical officer responded. "Defense grid is on standby." Reed nodded, remembering his orders. This was supposed to be a peaceful first contact. Earth's governments had agreed to present a united front, hiding their military capabilities unless absolutely necessary. The plan was simple: act primitive, act peaceful, and gather intelligence. The alien ship's communication system activated, projecting a hologram onto Reed's bridge. A tall, reptilian figure appeared, wearing ornate armor covered in glowing symbols. "Greetings, humans," the alien spoke in perfect English. "I am Ambassador High Lord Trell of the Galactic Empire. We have come to offer you the greatest honor, incorporation into our mighty empire." Reed followed his script. "We are honored by your presence, Ambassador. I am Captain Reed of the United Earth Defense Force. We look forward to peaceful discussions." The ambassador's expression shifted slightly. "Discussion? There seems to be a misunderstanding. We are not here to discuss. We are here to accept your submission." Reed felt his stomach tighten. "Perhaps we could talk about mutual cooperation instead. Earth would be happy to establish trade relations." "Silence." Trell cut him off. "Your species has been evaluated and found suitable for basic labor roles within the Empire. Sign our submission treaty, and your transition will be peaceful. Resist, and we will demonstrate why no species has ever successfully defied the Empire." On his private screen, Reed saw multiple Imperial ships emerging from hyperspace. Standard intimidation tactics, but they didn't know about Earth's hidden defenses. "Ambassador," Reed tried one last time, "we really should discuss this. War would be unfortunate for both sides." Trell actually laughed. "War? Your species can barely reach its own moon. What do you know of war?" Reed pressed a hidden button under his command console, sending a prearranged signal. Across Earth's orbit, hundreds of seemingly broken satellites suddenly activated, revealing themselves as weapon platforms. The debris field around Earth came alive with hidden defense systems. "Last chance, Ambassador," Reed said quietly. "Let's talk peace." The ambassador's face turned dark with rage. "You dare threaten the Empire? Your primitive weapons cannot harm our shields. Let this be your first lesson in obedience." The Imperial ship fired a warning shot, a standard Empire tactic used to demonstrate their power. The energy beam headed straight for Reed's ship, but it never arrived. A hidden defense platform intercepted it with an ancient human weapon, a cloud of metallic ball bearings moving at relativistic speeds. The Empire's energy shields, designed to stop energy weapons, did nothing against simple physical objects moving at near-light speed. The Imperial ship's port side erupted in a spray of purple metal and atmosphere. "Impossible," Trell shouted, his composure breaking. "Your technology level. You couldn't." "Ambassador," Reed said calmly, "humanity has been preparing for alien contact for over 100 years. We've had a lot of time to think about how to fight more advanced species. Now, would you like to discuss peace?" The bridge of the Imperial ship erupted in chaos. Alarms blared as more hidden weapons revealed themselves. The Empire's mighty shields proved useless against humanity's primitive kinetic weapons. "This is outrageous," Trell sputtered. "The Empire will not forget this insult. You will face the full might of our military." As the Imperial ships retreated into hyperspace, Reed sighed heavily. He knew this was just the beginning. The Empire would return with a full invasion fleet, but humanity had more surprises waiting. After all, humans had spent their entire history preparing for war, against themselves and anyone else. "Send word to command," Reed ordered. "Tell them the Empire chose the hard way. Initiate Operation Dark Forest." As his crew rushed to comply, Reed watched the Imperial ships flee. He almost felt sorry for them. They had no idea what they had just started. The Empire was about to learn why humans had survived on their death world for so long. They were better at war than anyone in the galaxy could imagine. Fleet Commander Exan watched his massive invasion fleet exit hyperspace near Earth's solar system. 1,000 ships strong, it was the largest punitive force the Empire had sent against a single planet in 50 years. The humans' humiliation of Ambassador Trell would not go unpunished. "Launch the first wave," he ordered. "Show these primitives what real power looks like." His flagship's AI calculated perfect firing solutions as the fleet moved forward. But something was wrong. The debris field around Earth was gone. All those satellites and junk that had hidden the humans' weapons had disappeared. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "we're detecting unusual movement in the asteroid belt." Axan dismissed the concern with a wave. "Probably mining operations. These humans still need to dig rocks for resources. Begin the attack pattern." The first wave of Imperial ships powered up their weapons. That's when the asteroid started moving against gravity. "Impossible," Axan shouted as he watched dozens of giant space rocks accelerating toward his fleet. Evasive action. But it was too late. The humans had hollowed out asteroids, turning them into massive ships with engines hidden inside. Now these rocks were splitting open, revealing swarms of smaller craft that poured out like angry bees from broken hives. "Sir, the humans are using the asteroid's mineral content to confuse our sensors." Axan watched in horror as human ships emerged from hiding places his sensors couldn't detect. They were using the natural elements of space itself as camouflage. His perfect formation began to break as ships tried to dodge both the asteroid ships and their smaller fighters. "Launch all fighters. Return fire," he commanded. The space between Earth and Mars erupted in chaos. Imperial energy weapons flashed brilliantly, but hit nothing as human ships used the asteroids for cover. Meanwhile, streams of primitive kinetic weapons tore through Imperial shields designed to stop energy weapons. "Sir, they're using some kind of ancient warfare technique," his tactical officer reported. "They call it submarine warfare, but adapted for space." Axan watched as another battle group disappeared from his tactical display. The humans were hiding in fields of space debris, striking from concealment, then vanishing again. His mighty fleet was being torn apart by an enemy he could barely detect. "They're not fighting fair," he growled in frustration. A bitter laugh came from his communication officer. "Sir, I'm intercepting their combat chatter." One of them just said, "If you find yourself in a fair fight, your tactics suck." The battle continued to deteriorate. Imperial ships, designed for glorious combat in open space, found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to follow proper military doctrine. The humans turned every piece of space debris into a weapon or hiding place. "Sir," his second-in-command reported grimly, "we've lost contact with battle groups 3 through 7. The humans are using our own debris fields against us. Every ship we lose becomes cover for their next attack." Axan slumped in his command chair, watching his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled by what should have been an easy conquest. His sensors showed human ships moving in ways that defied standard combat logic. They used gravity assists from planets and moons to achieve impossible attack angles. They turned their engines off and drifted with weapons cold until they were right next to Imperial ships. "Send the signal," he finally ordered. "Full retreat. We need to warn High Command." As his remaining ships flowed into hyperspace, Axan realized that the Empire had made a terrible mistake. They had expected to find primitive warriors. Instead, they had found a species that had turned space warfare into an art form. "Send a message to all Imperial fleets," he commanded. "The humans, they don't just fight in space. They fight like they're still in their ancient oceans. Every rock, every shadow, every speck of dust is their ally. We're not fighting soldiers. We're fighting space predators." His ship jumped to safety, but Axan knew this was just the beginning. The Empire had never failed to conquer a pre-FTL civilization before. But then again, They had never met humans before. As his ship fled through hyperspace, he wondered what other surprises these terrifying creatures had in store for them. Imperial Marine Commander Kex watched the security footage again, trying to understand what he was seeing. The video showed an Imperial space station being boarded by human soldiers. But something was wrong with these humans. They had been fighting for over 14 hours straight without rest. "Play it again," he ordered. "Focus on their movements." The footage showed humans running through the station's corridors in their sealed combat suits. They moved in perfect formation despite the artificial gravity failures. Where Imperial soldiers would have stopped to rest, the humans just kept going. "Sir," his research officer spoke up, "we've analyzed their biology. They're persistence predators. They evolved to chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion." Kex felt his scales ripple with unease. "You mean they just keep going?" "Yes, sir. And there's more. Listen to this." The officer played an audio recording from the station attack. A thunderous sound filled the room. Hundreds of human voices shouting in unison, the sound carried through the station's hull by vibration. "What is that?" Kex asked. "They call it a war cry. It's a psychological warfare technique from their ancient history. But that's not the worst part." The officer pulled up more data. The humans don't just fight as individuals. They form emotional bonds with their units. They call it brotherhood. Kex watched new footage of human soldiers risking their lives to save wounded comrades. In one clip, a human fought on despite severe injuries that should have incapacitated any rational being. "Sir," a junior officer burst into the room. "We've lost contact with Outpost 7. The humans, they've turned their cargo ships into weapons." The main screen showed civilian transport vessels that had been hastily fitted with armor and weapons. The humans called them privateers, another concept from their ancient wars. They were adapting faster than anyone had expected. "How are they doing this?" Kex demanded. "Their technology is centuries behind ours." His intelligence officer spoke up. "Sir, we've translated more of their military documents. They've been preparing for this exact scenario for centuries. They have something called science fiction, stories about fighting advanced aliens. They've been thinking about how to defeat us before they even knew we existed." New reports kept flooding in. Humans fighting in space conditions that Imperial soldiers considered impossible. Teams operating in hard vacuum using hand signals and pre-planned protocols. Some even used their suits' waste disposal systems to maneuver in space when their thrusters were damaged. "Sir," his medical officer added, "their adaptability is unprecedented. They're already learning to use our own weapons against us. And their bodies. They can keep fighting even after losing significant blood or taking damage that would kill most species. They just refuse to die." Kex felt true fear as he watched more footage. Humans singing their war songs in their native languages as they breached Imperial defenses, using primitive projectile weapons that couldn't be stopped by energy shields, fighting room by room through damaged stations, somehow knowing exactly how to move in zero gravity. "Worst of all," his research officer continued, "they're pack bonding with some of our captured soldiers. 3 Imperial Marines have already requested asylum with the humans after being treated by their medical teams." The room fell silent as that information sank in. A species so terrifying in combat, yet capable of turning enemies into allies. It went against everything the Empire understood about warfare. "Update the threat assessment," Kex ordered. "Classify humans as a Death World species. Warn all Imperial forces. Standard combat protocols are useless against them. They don't get tired. They don't give up. And they can turn anything into a weapon." As his officers rushed to comply, Kex watched one final piece of footage. A human soldier using sign language to communicate in vacuum, then pulling a wounded comrade to safety while returning fire with a captured Imperial weapon. They were learning, adapting, and getting stronger with every battle. "The Empire has awakened something terrible," he whispered. "We didn't find primitives. We found the perfect warriors. General Stone stood on the bridge of Earth's newest warship, the Remember Mars. The ship's name honored the colony that the Empire had destroyed in their second attack wave. Now, 6 months into the war, humanity was ready to strike back. Status report, Stone ordered, watching the tactical display where 50 human ships waited in formation. All ships report ready, sir, his aide responded. Operation Wooden Horses go. Stone allowed himself a small smile. The Empire thought they knew human tactics now. They were wrong. Humans had thousands of years of warfare to draw from, and they were just getting started. Begin Phase 1, Stone commanded. Let's show them why you should read Earth's history before starting a war with us. The human fleet jumped into hyperspace using captured Imperial technology. But unlike the Empire's neat, organized formations, they appeared scattered across 50 different locations around the Imperial border world. Sir, the communication officer called out, Imperial Defense Fleet is splitting up to engage our ships as planned. Stone nodded. The Empire's military doctrine required them to engage all threats equally. They couldn't ignore any human ship, no matter how small, not after seeing how much damage even a single Earth vessel could cause. Launch the shuttles, Stone ordered. Hundreds of small craft poured out of the human ships. The Empire's sensors registered them as escape pods fleeing from battle. Their defensive protocols marked them as non-threats. That was their first mistake. The escape pods were actually assault craft, each carrying 20 soldiers trained in zero-gravity combat. While the Imperial fleet chased human warships, these small craft slipped through their defenses. Sir, Imperial communications show they're celebrating, his intelligence officer reported. They think we're running away. Stone watched as the pods entered the atmosphere of the Imperial world. They still don't understand. Humans never abandon their people. If we're running away, it means we're about to do something terrible. The pods landed in the planet's vast oceans, another trick learned from Earth's history. Imperial sensors, designed to detect ships in space or land, had trouble tracking targets underwater. Phase 2, Stone ordered. Show them why humans ruled the seas before we reached the stars. Human soldiers emerged from the pods wearing advanced diving gear. The Empire had never considered underwater warfare. Why would they? No spacefaring race would think to attack from beneath an alien ocean. But humans had fought wars under Earth's oceans for over a century. Now they applied those tactics to alien seas. Imperial defense stations are going dark, Tactical reported. Underwater demolition teams successful. Stone watched as confusion spread through the Imperial defenses. They had prepared for attacks from space, not from their own oceans. Human teams sabotaged coastal facilities, planted bombs on underwater communications cables, and disabled planetary shields from below. Phase 3, Stone commanded. Bring in the fleet. The scattered human ships suddenly jumped back into formation above the planet's North Pole. With the planetary shields down and coastal defenses in chaos, the Empire's carefully planned defense fell apart. Message from Imperial Command. Communications announced. They're asking how we breached their defenses. Send them a history book, Stone replied. Chapter on the Trojan Horse and the naval wars of Earth. They thought space combat was just about big ships and energy weapons. They forgot that humans mastered warfare in 3 dimensions long before we reached space. The battle ended quickly. The Empire had never lost a core world before. They had no protocols for this situation. Their rigid military doctrine fell apart when faced with attacks coming from above and below. Sir, his aide reported, we're getting surrender signals from multiple Imperial bases. Stone nodded. Accept their surrender. Treat their wounded. Show them that humans know how to win wars and keep the peace. As his troops secured the planet, Stone thought about how the Empire had dismissed humans as primitives. They had looked at Earth's technology and decided humans were weak. They should have looked at Earth's history instead. Now they were learning the hard way why every human child learned about the Trojan horse, about submarine warfare, about guerrilla tactics. Because humans knew that superior technology didn't always win wars. Sometimes, the most dangerous weapon was the ability to think differently. High Commander Vex faced the Imperial Council, his scales pale with exhaustion. The massive chamber was unusually quiet as he delivered the worst military report in Empire history. "My lords," he began, "in the past month alone, we've lost contact with 12 border worlds. Our soldiers are deserting at unprecedented rates. The humans," he paused, gathering courage. "The humans are not just defeating us. They're converting our own troops." The council chamber erupted in angry shouts. One council member stood up, pointing accusingly at Vex. "How can primitive humans turn our loyal soldiers against us?" Vex activated a hologram showing captured footage. In it, human medics treated wounded Imperial soldiers with the same care they gave their own troops. Another clip showed captured Imperial Marines being offered a choice: help rebuild damaged civilian areas or remain as honored prisoners of war. "The humans understand something we don't," Vex explained. "They call it winning hearts and minds. They're not just fighting our bodies. They're fighting for our loyalty." More footage played. Imperial deserters fighting alongside humans, teaching them how to use Empire technology. But the humans didn't just copy Imperial weapons. They improved them. They combined Empire energy weapons with their own kinetic designs, creating hybrid weapons that no shield could stop. "Our latest intelligence is worse," Vex continued. "The humans have decoded our BattleNet protocols. They're using our own combat communications against us. Listen to this." He played an audio clip. Human voices sang Imperial war songs, broadcasting them during battles. The effect on Imperial morale was devastating. More and more Imperial soldiers were refusing to fight against an enemy that honored their traditions while offering mercy. "Sir," a messenger burst into the chamber, "we've lost the 7th Fleet. The humans, they did something impossible." The main screen showed the disaster. The humans had figured out how to use Imperial hyperspace technology in ways the Empire had never imagined. They jumped massive asteroids into normal space right in the middle of Imperial formations. The destruction was total. "How?" a council member demanded. "How are they learning our technology so quickly?" "Because they never stopped learning," Vex answered. "Look at this." He showed intercepted human communications. Their scientists worked around the clock, combining Earth science with Empire technology. They approached problems differently, finding solutions the Empire had never considered. While Imperial engineers followed centuries of established doctrine, humans asked why not, and tried new things. "The humans have another saying," Vex added grimly. "Necessity is the mother of invention. Every time we force them to adapt, they grow stronger." The council chamber fell silent as more reports arrived. 3 more Imperial worlds had requested human protection, afraid of being caught in the Empire's collapse. The humans accepted, offering fair terms that the Empire's own vassals had never received. "My lords," Vex said quietly, "we face a choice. We can keep fighting and watch our Empire tear itself apart, or we can do what no Empire has done in 10,000 years. Admit we were wrong. You suggest surrender." The council leader's voice was thick with disbelief. "I suggest survival," Vex corrected. "The humans are offering peace terms, fair ones, better than what we offered them. If we don't accept, I fear there won't be an Empire left to save." He showed one final piece of footage: a human soldier sharing food with Imperial children on a conquered world. The children were laughing, unafraid. The Empire's mighty armies couldn't protect their worlds, but the humans could. "We thought we were the teachers," Vex concluded, "but perhaps we need to become students instead. The humans, they're showing us a different way to be strong." As the council debated, more reports of Imperial ship crews surrendering arrived, not because they were defeated, but because they had seen something better than the Empire's rigid control: humanity's adaptable, innovative spirit. The Empire had started this war thinking They would teach humans their place in the galaxy. Instead, humans were teaching the Empire that true strength came from being able to change, to learn, and sometimes, to admit when you were wrong. The Grand Archive of the Empire buzzed with unusual activity. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Empire's master historian was recording a defeat. But more than that, he was writing a warning to all spacefaring races. Master historian Locke stared at the holographic display, carefully choosing his words. This document would be sent to every corner of the galaxy. Let this stand as official notice, he began, that the species known as humans from the planet Earth are hereby classified as a platinum-level threat to any aggressive action. This is the highest warning level ever issued by the Empire. His assistants looked up in surprise. No species had ever received a platinum warning before. To all who receive this warning, Locke continued, know that the following observations are paid for in Imperial blood and resources. The humans are not what they appear to be. He activated footage from the war, showing human tactics and adaptability. First, they are classified as a Death World species. Their home planet's high gravity, atmospheric pressure, and variable climate have created warriors who can fight in almost any condition. But this is not what makes them dangerous. New footage played, showing humans using Imperial technology in ways nobody had imagined possible. Their true danger lies in how they think. Humans do not follow rational military doctrine. They take established rules of warfare and break them simply to see what happens. They ask why not, when told something is impossible. Locke's added details about human biology and psychology. They are persistence predators with pack-bonding capabilities that extend beyond their species. They can hunt targets for days without rest. They form emotional attachments to allies and even defeated enemies. Their capacity for both violence and mercy defies Imperial understanding. He included footage of human medical teams treating Imperial wounded, of human soldiers sharing food with Imperial children, of human engineers teaching Imperial scientists new ways to think about old problems. Most dangerous of all is their ability to learn and adapt. The humans have a concept they call science fiction. They imagine future problems and solve them before they happen. They had planned for alien invasion scenarios centuries before meeting us. Every defeat teaches them. Every victory makes them stronger. Locke paused, making sure the next part was absolutely clear. The following advisory is now Imperial law. Do not attempt to conquer Earth. Do not attempt to enslave humans. Do not threaten human allies or interests. The cost is too high. He added the military statistics. Thousands of Imperial ships lost, dozens of worlds switching allegiance, entire fleets surrendering not from fear, but from respect for human capability and fairness. To those who doubt this warning, consider this. The humans went from primitive chemical rockets to defeating the Empire in less than 100 years. They turned our own technology against us in months. They transformed from a pre-FTL civilization to a major galactic power in less than one standard year. Locke showed final footage of the peace treaty signing. The humans had offered fair terms, asking only for recognition of their sovereignty and the right to protect weaker species from exploitation. The Empire officially recognizes Earth and all human-controlled space as sovereign territory. We recognize humans as equals, the first species to ever force such recognition from us. We advise all spacefaring races to do the same. He added one final section, labeled Personal Notes. In defeat, we learned more than we had in 10,000 years of victory. The humans taught us that strength lies not in rigid doctrine, but in the ability to adapt. Not in forcing others to submit, but in earning their respect. They defeated us not just with weapons, but with ideas. Locke finished the document with the traditional Imperial seal, then added something new, the human symbol for peace, an olive branch. Send it to all worlds, he ordered. Let the galaxy know that the age of Imperial conquest is over. The humans have shown us a better way. They call it peace through strength, victory through wisdom. As the warning went out across the galaxy, Lux looked at Earth's image one last time. The humans had a saying: "Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it." Thanks to his warning, perhaps the galaxy would learn from the Empire's mistake. After all, nobody wanted to be the second Empire to learn why humans were the most terrifying species in the galaxy.